Your bathroom mirror isn't actually fogging because of steam. At least, not the way most people think. Because if steam alone caused mirrors to fog, every surface inside the bathroom would disappear equally. But they don't. Some mirrors fog instantly, others barely react. And that difference matters, because the real problem isn't the steam itself. It's what happens when hot moisture suddenly collides with a cold surface. That's when everything changes. Tiny water droplets form instantly across the glass, thousands of them, maybe millions, so small you can't see them individually. But together, they turn the mirror white, cloudy, useless. And once it happens, your entire morning routine slows down, every single day. Now, most people treat this like a normal annoyance, something unavoidable. You wipe the mirror with your hand, then the towel, then your sleeve. And 5 seconds later, the fog comes back again. So eventually, people stop questioning it completely. They accept it. But years ago, hotels handled this differently. So did old barbershops, locker rooms, gym bathrooms, even restaurants near hot kitchens. Because those places couldn't afford constantly fogged mirrors, not during busy hours, not during rush periods. And over time, workers started noticing something strange. Certain mirrors stayed clearer longer, not because the room had less steam, because the surface behaved differently. That was the secret, not the air, the surface. Now here's where things get interesting. Glass looks smooth, perfectly smooth, but it isn't. Under moisture, the surface behaves like microscopic terrain, tiny invisible imperfections everywhere, small texture points, tiny anchor spots where water grabs hold. That's why fog spreads evenly so quickly. The moisture attaches itself instantly. Now imagine rain hitting untreated glass. Water sticks, forms droplets, spreads unevenly. But treated glass behaves differently. Water struggles to grip the surface. It slides instead. That's exactly what this forgotten bathroom trick changes, not the steam, the glass itself. Now here's the strange part. The trick uses something most people already own, something sitting inside millions of bathrooms right now, shaving cream. That's it. No expensive anti-fog spray. No chemical coating kits. No advanced mirror technology. Just ordinary shaving cream. Because shaving cream leaves behind an ultra-thin invisible layer after polishing. And that thin layer changes how condensation behaves on the surface. The water can't attach normally anymore, which means thick fog struggles to form. Simple, but surprisingly effective. Now years ago, barbers discovered this almost accidentally. Hot towels, warm rooms, steam everywhere, mirrors constantly fogging during busy mornings. And eventually, someone rubbed shaving cream across the mirror while cleaning, then polished it off, and something strange happened. The mirror stayed clearer much longer afterward, not permanently, but long enough that people noticed immediately. That's how forgotten methods usually spread, not through advertising, through repetition, observation, word of mouth. Now here's the part most modern companies never explain clearly. Most anti-fog sprays use the exact same principle underneath, surface modification, that's all. Different chemicals maybe, different packaging, different branding, but the same basic idea. Change how moisture behaves on the surface. That's it. Now suddenly, the old shaving cream trick sounds less ridiculous and more logical. Now imagine this. You take a clean, dry towel, apply a very small amount of shaving cream onto the mirror, not a giant blob, just enough to lightly cover the surface, then spread it gently. Thin layer, almost transparent. After that, you buff it clean with another towel until the mirror looks completely normal again. No visible film, no foam, no streaks, just clean glass. But underneath, something changed. That's the important part, because now the surface tension behaves differently. The next hot shower starts. Steam fills the room. Normally, the mirror would vanish instantly behind white fog, but now the fog weakens, scatters, sometimes barely forms at all. And even when light fog appears, it clears dramatically faster. That's the moment people realize this actually works. Now here's another thing most people never think about. Fogged mirrors are actually warning signs because they reveal how much moisture remains trapped inside the bathroom air. That matters a lot because moisture affects everything over time. Paint, wood, metal fixtures, cabinets, drywall, even air quality itself. That's why old homes focused heavily on airflow. Ventilation mattered, not just comfort, protection. Now think about modern bathrooms for a second. Closed doors, weak exhaust fans, tiny windows, hot showers, steam trapped constantly. And over time, that trapped humidity creates larger problems. Mold, mildew, warped surfaces, peeling paint, rust around fixtures. The fogged mirror is usually just the visible symptom, not the actual issue.
Now here's where the conspiracy angle quietly starts appearing again. If cheap household products solve small daily annoyances effectively, what happens to specialty anti-fog industries? What happens to premium sprays, mirror coatings, specialized cleaning systems, bathroom gadgets, high-end anti-fog products? That's the uncomfortable reality. Simple fixes are difficult to market dramatically, especially when they cost almost nothing. Now, obviously, this trick isn't magic. Eventually, the layer fades, especially after repeated wiping and cleaning. But many people notice reduced fogging for days, sometimes weeks. That's impressive considering the cost. Now, here's something fascinating. Divers use very similar principles inside masks. Swimmers do too. Motorcyclists, skiers, pilots. Because fogging always comes down to surface behavior, not moisture alone. That pattern keeps repeating everywhere. Change the surface, and condensation changes too. Simple physics, not mystery. Now imagine stepping out of a hot shower and seeing yourself clearly in the mirror immediately. No wiping, no towel streaks, no waiting, just visibility. Instantly. That tiny improvement changes the entire routine more than people expect, especially during rushed mornings. Now here's another hidden detail older barbers understood. Too much shaving cream ruins the effect. That's important. The coating should be almost invisible, thin enough that the mirror still looks perfectly clean afterward, because the effect comes from the microscopic film left behind, not thick residue. Too much creates smearing. Too little disappears too quickly. There's a balance. Now think about how strange modern convenience became. People buy expensive specialty products for tiny household annoyances, without realizing older methods solved similar problems decades ago using basic items already inside the house. That pattern appears everywhere, not just mirrors. Cleaning, plumbing, noise reduction, heating, cooling. Older generations focused heavily on practical efficiency because they had to. They experimented constantly, observed patterns carefully, and over time, simple systems survived because they worked consistently enough, not perfectly, but reliably. Now here's another thing people notice after trying this trick. The mirror often stays cleaner longer too, because the invisible film slightly weakens residue attachment. Water spots reduce, fingerprints wipe away easier. Again, small change, unexpected result. Now, obviously, bathroom ventilation still matters most long-term. Airflow, fans, open doors, moisture removal. Those things reduce condensation naturally, but this trick changes the mirror itself. That's why the effect feels immediate. Now imagine staying at a high-end hotel. You take a long hot shower, and strangely, the mirror barely fogs at all. Most people assume the hotel installed special glass. Usually they didn't. Maintenance staff often use anti-fog surface treatments routinely because hotels care about experience, and fogged mirrors create subconscious irritation. That matters more than people realize. Now here's something deeper. Humans underestimate how strongly tiny daily annoyances affect mood. Fogged mirrors, sticky doors, slow drains, outside noise, flickering lights. These small repeated frustrations slowly create background stress. That's why fixing them feels strangely satisfying emotionally. Not because the problems were huge, because removing friction improves everyday life immediately. That feeling matters. Now imagine solving one of those daily annoyances for about $1. No installation, no subscriptions, no gadgets.
Just understanding the behavior underneath the problem itself. That's why forgotten household tricks survive for decades quietly. Because useful knowledge spreads naturally once people see results personally. No advertising needed. Now here's another detail older maintenance workers understood. Condensation always follows temperature differences. Cold surface, warm, humid air, immediate moisture attachment. That's why mirrors fog instantly after showers. But once the surface tension changes, condensation behaves differently. Again, surface control, not steam control. That distinction changes everything. Now think about how many modern products simply repackage old principles using newer branding. Different bottle, different logo, different marketing language. Same underlying idea. That's the uncomfortable truth many industries quietly depend on. Complexity sells better than simplicity, even when simplicity works surprisingly well. Now imagine teaching this trick to someone else. Most people react the same way initially. No way shaving cream actually works, until they try it. Then suddenly, the mirror stays clear during the next shower, and the skepticism disappears instantly. That's the power of practical results. Now here's another hidden reason this trick survived for so long. It's safe.
No harsh chemicals, no aggressive coatings, no strong fumes. That mattered heavily in older barbershops and hotels. Simple methods reduced risk, reduced maintenance problems, reduced cost. Again, old systems focused on efficiency, not endless replacement cycles. Now think about how many modern products are designed around recurring purchases. Sprays that fade quickly, wipes that require constant reapplication, systems needing refill cartridges. But forgotten methods often aimed for something different. Practicality. Use what already exists. Solve the problem directly. Move on. That philosophy quietly disappeared over time. Now every inconvenience feels connected to another product purchase, but sometimes the answer is already sitting beside the sink, ignored. Now next time your bathroom mirror disappears behind steam, before buying another expensive anti-fog product, try the old barber trick. Tiny amount of shaving cream, thin invisible layer. Buff it clear. Simple, cheap, quietly effective. Because the steam was never really the problem, the surface was. And once the surface changes, everything else changes with it.